The story begins in Madrid in the year 1991. The police receive an emergency call from a terrified young girl. On the phone, her panicked voice says, "He is inside," but is unable to explain what is happening. Police officers immediately rush to the apartment building and arrive to find the home completely ruined and wrecked. They notice a crucifix that has been knocked to the floor. Following a trail of blood, the officers hear a disturbing noise coming from one of the rooms. They cautiously enter and are confronted by a horrifying sight, though the film does not reveal exactly what they are seeing. The story then flashes back 3 days earlier, introducing a 15-year-old girl named Veronica as she wakes up. After waking up, Veronica goes to wake her younger siblings, the twins Irene and Lucia, and her little brother Antonito. It is revealed that their father recently passed away, and because of this, their mother has to work long hours to support the family. As the oldest child, Veronica has taken on the responsibility of looking after her siblings and helping with the household chores. Before leaving, Veronica quietly enters her mother's room and takes a photograph of her late father. The siblings then leave for school. Later, while Veronica is sitting in class, her best friend Rosa secretly throws her a rolled-up note. The two girls exchange excited looks, suggesting they have something planned. At the same time, the teacher is giving a lesson about solar eclipses. She explains how some ancient cultures believed eclipses had supernatural powers and even used them during rituals to summon dark spirits. After the lesson ends, the students and teachers head to the rooftop to watch the solar eclipse. Meanwhile, Veronica meets up with Rosa, who reveals that she has invited another girl named Diana to join them. Veronica is annoyed because Rosa did not ask her first, but Rosa explains that Diana recently lost her boyfriend in a motorcycle accident and wants a chance to speak with him. The three girls secretly make their way to the school's basement. It is then revealed that they are planning to perform a séance using an Ouija board. Rosa explains that they need a personal item belonging to the person they want to contact. Veronica has brought a photograph of her father, but Diana does not have anything that belonged to her boyfriend. The girls place the Ouija board on the floor and put their fingers on a glass. They close their eyes and begin the séance. In a nervous voice, they ask if there is anyone present with them. Suddenly, the glass begins moving on its own, making the girls believe that a spirit is present. Nervously, they ask if the spirit is Veronica's father, but the glass starts moving wildly across the board. The girls ask the question again, and this time, the glass slowly moves toward the sun symbol on the Ouija board. Then, Rosa and Diana suddenly feel a burning sensation in their fingers and quickly pull their hands away. But Veronica keeps holding onto the glass. The glass continues to move on its own, terrifying her friends. At the same time, the solar eclipse reaches its peak. Down in the basement, the glass suddenly shatters. Veronica's index finger starts bleeding and the candles fall over, starting a small fire. The girls panic and quickly put out the flames. A few moments later, Diana and Rosa turn on a flashlight and discover that the Ouija board has been completely broken. Veronica is lying unconscious on the floor. Terrified, Diana runs off to get help while Rosa stays behind with her friend. As she watches Veronica, Rosa notices Veronica's lips are moving. Rosa listens closely and becomes frightened when Veronica begins mumbling something uncontrollably. Then, Veronica lets out a terrifying scream. In the next scene, Veronica wakes up in the school infirmary. The doctor tells her that she fainted for no obvious reason, suggests it could be due to low blood pressure or possibly an iron deficiency. Outside the school, Veronica's sisters are waiting for her. At that moment, they notice the blind headmistress of the school, who is known as Sister Death. She seems to be looking directly at Veronica, as if she can actually see her, which makes her feel uneasy. When Veronica returns home, she puts her backpack, still containing the broken Ouija board, on top of a closet in her room. She leaves the room, but soon hears strange noises coming from inside. When she comes back, she finds her bag on the floor. Confused, she places it back on top of the closet and leaves again, but the same thing happens once more. Confused, she finally puts the bag under her bed instead. Later, during dinner with her siblings, Veronica suddenly loses control of her hand, and it starts to feel stiff and frozen. She tries to lift a fork to eat a meatball, but struggles to move her arm properly, and she can barely pull the food toward her mouth. Terrified, Irene accidentally spills her milk, and at that moment, Veronica snaps back to normal. Shaken, she has no explanation for what just happened to her. While washing clothes, Veronica is horrified to find strange bruises on her shoulders. Later, while bathing Antonito, she suddenly hears a loud bang coming from her room. Assuming it is her sister, she rushes out, but the bedroom is completely empty. But the bedroom door slams shut, shut, locking her inside. Suddenly, Antonito screams from the bathroom. After struggling, Veronica finally forces the door open and rushes back and pulls her brother out of the tub and discovers that his skin has been badly burned by boiling hot water. Antonito cries and insists that he never touched the hot water faucet. Shaken, Veronica applies ointment and apologizes, thinking she may have accidentally made the water too hot. However, Antonito calmly tells her that it wasn't her fault. Before going to sleep, Veronica retrieves her backpack from under the bed and places it back in the closet. Around midnight, she wakes up as the closet door creaks open. Inside, she finds her siblings hiding in the dark. Suddenly, a male voice calls her name, and she turns around to see the naked ghost of her dead father walking toward her. Terrifying, burned hands drag her onto the bed and begin to suffocate her. Fortunately, she wakes up and realizes it was just a horrible nightmare. At school, Veronica tries to toss a rolled-up note to her best friend, Rosa, just like they always do. However, Rosa ignores her and chooses to pass notes back and forth with Diana instead. Realizing she is being left out and avoided, a sad Veronica asks the teacher for permission to go to the bathroom. Instead of going to the restroom, Veronica sneaks down to the dark basement to get her father's picture back. Suddenly, she discovers that the blind headmistress, Sister Death, is standing there. The nun asks Veronica what she is holding in her hand. Veronica asks how she can possibly know since she is blind. Sister Death replies that a person does not need eyes to see everything. Sister Death warns her that what the girls did with the Ouija board was extremely dangerous. Veronica defends herself, saying she only wanted to talk to her dead father. The nun examines the photograph and instantly senses it wasn't Veronica's father who answered the séance, but an evil spirit. Sister Death warns Veronica that her younger siblings are now in grave danger and that she must protect them. The nun lifts up her crucifix and loudly commands the shadows to leave the body that does not belong to them, but her command is not powerful enough. As soon as Veronica gets home, she starts reading an occult magazine to find a way to ward off evil spirits. She finds some protective symbols inside, carefully copies them onto pieces of paper, and hangs them up all over her siblings' bedroom to keep them safe from evil. That night, Veronica hears her sister's walkie-talkie static ringing. She calls out and tells her sisters to go back to sleep. Suddenly, a creepy low voice comes through the walkie-talkie, telling Veronica that she needs to save her siblings because she was the one who invited the devil into the house. Right after that, Veronica spots a dark figure entering her sister's bedroom. She panics and rushes in to check on them. Both girls are peacefully asleep in their beds. As Veronica turns around to leave the room, a terrifying shadowy figure appears on the wall, and the protective paper symbol she had hung up earlier suddenly bursts into flames. Before she can react, Shadow Hand reaches out and begins violently choking her sister, Lucia. The sisters wake up terrified and assume Veronica was the one who hurt Lucia. A desperate Veronica explains to her siblings that there is an invisible monster in the house that they cannot see. She tells them that they are all going to sleep together in the living room. A while later, a sudden noise startles Veronica. Looking over, she spots a dark shadow moving behind the glass of the living room door. Fortunately, it turns out to be just their mother returning home from work. The mother is shocked to find all the kids in the living room late at night, and the little girls quickly tell their mom that an evil spirit enters into the house. Once the siblings go back to sleep, the mother gets Veronica alone and scolds her, telling her to stop put terrifying, strange ideas into her siblings' heads. Veronica snaps back and argues that their mother is never at home to see what is actually happening, and confesses that she accidentally contacted a spirit by using an Ouija board, explaining that she only wanted to talk to her dead father. However, the mother completely disbelieves the ghost story and harshly tells Veronica that she needs to grow up. The next day, Veronica is woken up by her sisters, who say they are hungry. Suddenly, where they start biting and eating her arms, while her little brother Antonito begins choking her. But immediately after this, Veronica wakes up and realizes it was another nightmare. When she wakes up properly, she notices blood on her bed and clothes, which means she has had her first period. While cleaning her mattress, she flips it over and finds a strange burnt-looking stain underneath it. Veronica then goes to Antonito's room and finds him reading a book. When she asks him, he says that their father comes to him every night and reads to him. Frightened, Veronica tells him that if their father comes again, he should cover his ears and call out for her loudly. She then checks Antonito's mattress and finds the same burnt human-shaped mark underneath it. Worried, she goes to her sister's room and discovers that both of their mattresses also have the same strange mark. Desperate for answers, Veronica goes down to the school basement to confront Sister Death. She intentionally blinded herself years ago in a desperate attempt to stop having terrifying visions of evil spirits. However, her plan failed completely, as she can still see and sense the entities just as strongly. When Veronica complains that the shadow monsters aren't afraid of holy crosses or protective amulets, Sister Death bluntly tells her that God has nothing to do with this situation. She explains that the only way to get rid of the spirit is to force it back through the exact same doorway it entered, meaning Veronica has to hold another session and say a proper goodbye to it. Before Veronica leaves, the nun emphasizes that the answer lies in her books and that whatever she did wrong the first time must now be fixed. Later on, Veronica reads her occult magazine again to figure out how to safely close a portal. The book explains that to end a séance, the participants must formally say goodbye to the spirit they summoned. The magazine strictly warns that if they fail to bid farewell, the evil spirits will hang around forever, and the participants must try the ritual again to fix it. Determined to fix her mistake, Veronica tracks down her former best friend, Rosa, who is currently hanging out at a busy party. Veronica begs Rosa and Diana to do the séance one more time just so they can say goodbye and banish the spirit. However, both girls completely refuse, calling her crazy and telling her the whole thing is nonsense. As Veronica is kicked out of the party, a frustrated Rosa feels exactly what Veronica was uncontrollably whispering while she was unconscious in the basement 3 days ago. Veronica had repeatedly whispering that she was going to die in exactly 3 days. Terrified by Rosa's words, Veronica rushes to her mother's workplace and begs her to please stay home that night. However, her mother claims she is far too busy and suggests they hang out the following day instead. Veronica returns home with her siblings, remembering Sister Death's advice that she must fix what she did wrong. Determined to end the nightmare once and for all, she tapes the broken Ouija board back together. She then tells her siblings that they are going to play a game. She asks Antonito to draw the protective symbol she found in the occult magazine on the hallway walls. As the girls get ready, Antonito paints the walls, but he quickly gets bored of drawing the same shape. He turns the page of the magazine and unknowingly starts painting a completely different symbol instead. Soon, Veronica and her sisters sit down and place their fingers on the glass to start the Ouija board session. Veronica asks if the spirit is in the room with them, and the glass moves, showing that it is. She firmly tells the spirit that they have gathered to say goodbye. However, the spirit responds by firmly refusing. According to the magazine, the siblings must sing a soft song to properly close the portal and force the spirit away. So Veronica and her siblings begin singing. As they sing, strange noises start echoing throughout the apartment. The children become frightened, but Veronica tells them to keep singing. Then suddenly, a door swings open on its own. The Ouija board splits apart for a second time and the glass piece rolls away on its own. Veronica leaves the circle to follow the glass as it rolls straight into her bedroom. She steps inside, turns on her flashlight, and aims the beam at the stained mattress. As she cautiously approaches it, a shadowy hand grabs her, trying to drag her into the mattress. Veronica fights back with all her strength, manages to break free from its grip, and runs back to her helpless siblings. In a state of panic, Veronica calls the emergency police line, the exact phone call we heard at the very beginning of the movie. She screams, "He is inside!" Suddenly, the burnt spirit snatches little Antonito and drags him away. Terrified, Veronica immediately runs after her little brother and follows him to the bathroom. Then, she sees the evil presence inside. Veronica smashes the bathroom window and climbs in. However, during the struggle, she falls and loses consciousness. Sometime later, Veronica wakes up and finds her little brother sitting there. Relieved, she quickly picks him up and carries him away. Realizing they are no longer safe in the apartment, the four siblings leave the apartment immediately. They finally reach the building exit, but as Veronica glances at a nearby mirror, she is horrified to see the reflection shows her arms are completely empty, and she isn't actually holding Antonito at all. Worried about her little brother, Veronica goes back upstairs to rescue Antonito, and finds her brother is still inside the bathroom. The evil drags Antonito when Veronica rushes to him, but the evil strikes her on the head. Despite being terrified, Veronica picks up a sharp piece of broken glass and carefully moves through the apartment searching for her brother. A few moments later, she finds Antonito hiding inside a closet. He is covering his ears and repeatedly calling out Veronica's name for help. Veronica tries to speak to him, but he does not respond and seems unable to recognize her. At that moment, Veronica remembers telling Antonito earlier that if their father ever came back, he should cover his ears and call her name. This realization makes her understand. She realizes that the spirit has possessed her ever since the Ouija session. The shadow she thought was haunting the family was actually controlling her, and she has unknowingly been the one terrorizing and hurting her siblings. Desperate to protect Antonito, Veronica takes the sharp piece of glass and tries to slash her own throat to stop the demon. However, the evil entity prevents her from doing so. Instead, it forces its arm into her mouth and begins choking her. Just then, the police officers arrive at the apartment. They are shocked to see Veronica apparently being attacked by an invisible force before she suddenly collapses onto the floor. One officer quickly grabs Antonito and carries him to safety, while another calls for paramedics to help Veronica, who is badly injured. Outside the building, Veronica's mother arrives and is devastated when she sees her daughter in such a terrible condition. Meanwhile, upstairs, the chief notices a photograph of Veronica lying on the floor. When he picks it up, he suddenly drops it because it mysteriously burns his hand. Shortly afterward, the detective receives a message over the radio informing him that Veronica has died from her injuries. Veronica's photograph slowly burns away. The film reveals that these terrifying events are based on a real-life police case from Spain, where officers officially reported witnessing paranormal activity at the scene. It is also revealed that 2 officers had to leave the apartment because they became physically ill, while the chief detective ended up requesting a transfer just 1 month later because of the unexplainable horrors he witnessed. And the movie ends. And that wraps up Veronica. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell for more chilling movie stories. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.